Good afternoon. Today we are starting Unit 6. We are working on PO34. I can use direct proportions in real context. So we're going to be using stuff that we learned in our last unit, and we're going to be applying that to some of the work we are doing in this unit. So there are three types of proportions that we're going to be talking about: direct, partitive, and inverse. Direct proportions and partitive proportions will seem familiar, while when we get to the inverse proportions, it's going to be most likely to be new for us. So today's objective with the direct proportions should be a little bit easier because we're using stuff that we've already been doing, and it's not something that's crazy and new. So first, let's define our direct proportion. It is the relation between quantities whose ratio is constant. So we're going back to those ratios. So it's good that we have a good understanding of our ratios so we know how to do this objective. So this objective will require concepts from past lessons, including unit rates and proportions. So it's not a lot of new that I'm going to show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work through this first page, and then our second page is going to be work on your own to try to use our prior knowledge and put it into a new way. We knew how to do the unit rates. Now we're going to have word problems that we're going to be answering using those unit rates. So it's taking what we already know and just building on it. So that direct proportion is using those ratios that are constant. So our ratio is staying the same. So let's scroll up. Our first question says a car travels 300 miles in 6 hours. So I'm going to put that as a ratio. 300 miles in 6 hours. So for A, we need to find out how many miles can the car travel in 8 hours. Well, it's not easy to go from 6 hours to 8 hours. So I'm going to bring it down to the unit rate. How many miles can it go in 1 hour? So to go down to that unit rate, we're going to divide by that 6. 300 divided by 6 is 50 miles. 6 hours divided by 6 is 1 hour. So it can go 50 miles in 1 hour. So our question is, how many miles can the car travel in 8 hours? So now I'm going to bring that 50 miles every hour, and I'm going to multiply it by the 8 because I want 8 hours. So 50 times 8 gives me 400 miles in 8 hours. So that is my answer to A, 400 miles in that 8 hours. So now let's look at B. How many feet does the car travel in 8 hours? So now I need to look back at how many feet in a mile. And if we look back at our CO33, we can see there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So if there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile, and we're going 400 miles, that gets us an answer of 2,112,000 feet in 8 hours. So 2,112,000 feet in those 8 hours. So we need to be able to go and do that converting between minutes and miles and feet. So how many miles is the car traveling per hour? So if it travels, let me see, if we were traveling 50 miles per hour, we already figured out the answer to that one. So it's traveling 50 miles per hour. So that one We already have that answer worked out. So it's traveling 50 miles per hour. Well, how many feet is the car traveling per second? So we're going to go back to doing that converting again. So we know that there are 2,112,000 feet in 8 hours. So let's look and say, okay, instead of 8 hours, we want to bring that down to 1 hour. So 2,112,000 feet divided by 8 gets us 264,000 feet in 1 hour. So now I want to bring my hours down to my minutes. So I'm going to divide by 60. So that'll give us 1 minute. And 264,000 feet divided by 60 gives us 4,400 feet in every minute. Now I need to go from minutes down to seconds. So I'm going to divide by 60 again to see how many I get in 1 second. So 4,400 feet divided by 60 gives me 73.3 repeating. It goes on and on and on. 73.3 repeating feet every second. So that line that I'm putting above the 3, this line here, means that it's a repeating 3. It just goes on. We could just round it and say 73 feet per second. It all depends on what you're rounding to. It's fine to say that it's a repeating. We don't have to actually round it if it's a repeating number. So you see how we take each step one step at a time, and we use that information that we've done before. We know how to do unit rates. We know how to convert between feet and miles, between hours and minutes and seconds. So we're just taking all that knowledge and we're just working it through one step at a time. So let's look at our bottom questions. A 40-ounce jug of grape juice costs $4.80. At this rate, how much would 65 ounces of juice cost? So we have $4.80 for 40 ounces of juice. We want to go to 65 ounces of juice. It's not easy to go from 40 to 65, so you guessed it, we need to find the unit rate of how much 1 ounce of juice would cost. So I'm going to divide $4.80 by 40 because I want it to be 1 ounce on the bottom, and I get 12 cents. So it's 12 cents for 1 ounce of juice. So now I need to know how much is 65 ounces. So I need to multiply it by 65. So I get 65 ounces. So 12 cents times 65 gives me $7.80. And you can be doing the math along with me on your calculator, making sure I'm doing my math correctly, because you know how it is. It's easy to make those simple math mistakes. For B, you find a different brand of grape juice that is a 35-ounce jug for only $3.85. Which jug of juice is the better price per ounce? It's hard to go between 40 ounces and 35 ounces to know which one is a better deal. So we need to go down to that unit rate. We want to find out which one is better per ounce. We already know the per ounce for the 40 ounce is 12 cents for every ounce. So now let's figure it out for our 35 ounce jug. So we have $3.85 in 35 ounces. We want to go down to that unit rate, so we're going to divide by 35, so we get 1 ounce on the bottom. $3.85 divided by 35 gives us 11 cents. So when it says which jug of juice is the better price per ounce, that would be the 35 ounce jug for $3.85. Now let's look at C. You have $20 to spend and decide to purchase as many jugs as you can of the juice that is cheaper per ounce. So we know that's this one, the $35. 35 ounces for $3.85. How many jugs can you buy with $20? And how much money will you have left over? So we're 2 questions here. So we're going to answer those individually. How many jugs can you buy with $20? So I'm going to take my $20 and I'm going to divide it by my $3.85. That gives me an answer of 5.19. So I can buy, what this is telling me is I can get 5 jugs and 19 hundredths of another jug. So I can get 5 whole jugs. So I can get 5 jugs, and then I have that 19 hundredths of a jug. So that's not an actual jug. That's just, you can't just buy that small little amount of a jug. So I can get 5 whole jugs. Now I need to see how much money I'm going to have left over, because I have enough money to buy 19 hundredths of a jug. What does that translate to in money? So I'm going to take my $3.85 and I'm going to multiply it by those 5 jugs that I'm going to buy. And that gives me 19.25. So to buy 5 jugs, I'm going to spend $19.25. But I need to know how much money is going to be left over. So I'm going to take my $20, I'm going to subtract out my $19.25, and I am left with 75 cents. So I have 75 cents left over. So when we look at some of these word problems, it seems a little overwhelming. It can seem complicated with all of the words that they're throwing at us, but just take it that one step at a time. What are they asking for? There is nothing new that we are doing in today's objective. We're just using the objectives that we've already learned, and we're building on it to do more, to be able to answer these questions. And these are real life questions. You're at the store and you see the 2 different jugs of juice and you want to buy the one that's more affordable. So you're going to have to know how to figure out which one has the better deal. So this is stuff that you will use in your life. It does seem a little complicated sometimes when we are having to do all of these word problems, but it will work for you. We know this math. We did it on our last test. You can do it. So your homework for today is working on the 2nd page of our binder here and answering the questions. So just look at the information it's giving you, looking at what we need to do. And then we have our review at the very bottom. So thinking about what we have done in the past, we know how to do our review. So I hope you are all well, and I will see you all again soon. Have a wonderful day.